Well, hey, welcome back to another Cruise Conversations live stream. We're super excited to talk cruising with y'all tonight. We got a lot on our plate here. We're going to be talking some cruise news, some Princess vs. Celebrity. Frank, how's it going this evening?
Dude, it's going well. I'm excited, man. Like you said, we've done this a couple times. It's turned out okay. So if you're here, let us know where you're listening from. Let us know how many days until your next cruise. I know, Michael, we've got, I think 75, 74 days until we board Liberty of the Seas, which I'm so excited. So if you're joining us now, thank you for joining. We're excited to talk cruising with you on this Monday evening. Next week, we're also going to talk about Utopia of the Seas in the Royal Beach Club. So for those that want to ask about it tonight, we'll happily talk about it a little bit early too. For those that are following along on YouTube, we just dropped our Excel vlogs. Michael, you were on the Conquest recently, and so you're dropping those vlogs. I think next week is the Celebration Key, right? So we'll get some of that footage from Celebration Key as well. And then Alaska, right? So we got 5 vlogs already edited, ready to go from Alaska. So I'm excited about that. Blogs, we've been dropping some blogs as we've had time, so make sure you follow all that at cruiseconversationspodcast.com. And then we've been posting some deals on Facebook, so check out that. We've been doing a lot of business, so just want to say thank you again to those that have been constantly booking and reaching out. And we've had a couple of you guys reach out and say you want to join the team, so we'd love to have you on. I think we've done, Michael, 700,000 in travel agent sales since we started, which is insane. And I'm excited to talk more about that too. But first of all, we got a special guest. His name is Jeremy. You guys love him. The Cruising Bear. Welcome, Jeremy, back on to the podcast and onto our live stream.
You know, I love being here. You can't get rid of me. I'll be here, all the time.
So, Jeremy, how many days until your next cruise? What are you going on next?
So, Lori and I are on the Carnival Jubilee in 12 days on the 24th.
Nice. This was a casino one, right?
Yes, as always.
Well, let's talk about some cruise news, right? So there's been a couple of big things happening in the cruise industry. The first one, Royal just broke ground. This was sort of like something that I didn't expect, but they broke ground on a new port, new terminal, Terminal G in Miami, which is amazing. We're going to have even more traffic to the port of Miami, which I know we all are longing for at this point, right? So 7,000 guests. We'll be able to have 2 mega ships docked in the port at one time. There'll be a multi-level parking garage, an intermodal facility. It's going to be pretty epic. I think this one's going to open up in 2027. So pretty exciting piece of cruise news. Let us know if you guys have seen this. I don't think they've actually broken like real ground yet. They just sort of started the last couple of weeks. So yeah, it's going to be cool to be able to house another Icon class vessel. Jeremy, what else is going on in the cruise news world?
Oceana just came out and said they are going to move to adults only. That if you're under 18 and you're already booked, you're good to go. But they're not taking any new bookings for anybody, any guests under 18 years old. Which Oceana is kind of they're up there. They're they're an expensive cruise line. Not really for kids. They don't have a lot of stuff for there, so it's probably not very shocking. And it's probably not going to impact them much.
Well, hey, we got some people tuning in the comments here. We got Keith, who said, "Good evening, gentlemen," and that he's going to be getting on the NCL Escape January 25th of this year. So counting down the days, Keith. That is real soon. We got Stews and Brews from New Hampshire, going to be sailing Allure of the Seas in 41 days. Frank, we loved Allure, didn't we, last year?
Man, I just hearing the word Allure of the Seas gets me excited about some Mamma Mia. Some what was the ice show on that one? Was it Aqua Aria or Aqua?
That was the Aqua show. Was Aqua Aria.
Ocean Aria. That's what it was. Yeah. So that's an awesome ship. I'm jealous. Enjoy it. Obviously, the Escape is great as well. So yeah, a lot of good people. A lot of people have some good cruises coming up. I'm jealous.
Yep, we got Jeremy saying to give a shout out to the shark dive. Jeremy's going on a cruise with us, a guy's cruise in a couple months, and wants to go shark diving. So we may be doing that in Nassau. So you may have to stay tuned. Maybe some vlog footage coming out of us scuba diving with sharks. We'll see about that.
Yeah. I'll throw you the camera and let you guys enjoy that one. I'll be on the pool deck with a margarita for sure.
Yeah, then we got Hans, who's 13 days out, and my mom, Darcy, 19 days until the Carnival Mardi Gras. So yeah, shout out to all of y'all tuning in tonight. Like we said, we can't wait to continue to talk cruising with y'all. The last piece of cruise news we actually have for the night comes with MSC. They announced another world cruise that I think's already started, right? It kicked off on the MSC Magnifica. It's 132 nights visiting over 46 destinations, including Barbados, Colombia, Cabo San Lucas, New Zealand, Australia, San Diego. I mean, it's hitting pretty much places all around the world. And we actually interviewed who did we interview, Frank? When we talked world cruising last year, and I forget what ship that was. What ship was that again? Do you remember?
That was on Serenade.
Serenade of the Seas, yeah, the Royal Caribbean World Cruise, and those World Cruises, man, just I mean, if you can get that many days off of work, shoot, I'll
Dude,
go do it.
that's insane.
And then Hans said this is going to be a second trip on the Sun Princess. That is great, Hans. Today, like we said, we're talking princess and celebrity, so can't wait to hear what you think of that ship. But hey, before we talk about this main topic, you may hear us talk about the cruise maps a lot. We're partnered with them. We've had them on the podcast many times. Check out this cruise maps promo.
We'll get right back to this interview in a second, but we wanted to tell you about the cruise maps. We've had the cruise maps come on our podcast, talk to us a lot. We actually have a lot of their products. We have a special discount with the cruise maps, 15% off. You can go on there. You can actually use the satellite data from your exact sailing to build out a map. They've got different cards and books that you can buy. Super awesome products, and we've got one of the best discounts out there. It's CC15 for 15% off your next cruise map order. Make sure you go check them out, thecruisemaps.com. All right, so we're back. Yeah, make sure you get your cruise map. Look, I got mine right behind me. Love those guys over there. So Jeremy, today we're talking about the Celebrity Excel. We did a full review of the Excel. It was a great ship. I would say it's up there for some of my favorite memories on the cruise, was on any cruise actually, was sitting with you, eating some of that little pub mix at the speakeasy. So that was incredible. I wish we could have got some of that on camera on those vlogs. And that was memories that I'll never forget. And I know that Scotty loved it too. But we're going to talk about the Celebrity Excel, and then we're going to talk about the Sun Princess. So I know, Hans, you've got a cruise coming up. You just mentioned on Sun Princess. Jeremy, you actually did the Excel, and then you hopped right on to the Sun Princess. So we're going to do a little side-by-side, right? We did the 5-night maiden voyage on the Excel, stopping in Bimini and Cozumel. I don't think that you had the drink package on this one. You did the free drinks in the casino, and you pretty much dined in the free restaurants, right? At the end of the day, you did a lot of the buffet, a lot of the main dining room. And then you also sailed, like I said, 7-night Western Caribbean to Grand Cayman, Honduras, Cozumel, on a slightly different experience, right? You had the premier package. You actually were in the sanctuary suite, right? So you had some different amenities, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So I just want to dive in. Jeremy, anything you want to say before we kind of go through category by category and kind of compare these two ships?
I mean, it was really easy to compare, right? We get off one, you jump on the other. It was super easy from embark to debark to all the little things on board. So they're all pretty fresh in my mind because that was just in November. And yeah, it was kind of a, you do this, you go do this. It's easy to do a little head-to-head comparison, even if some things are different. I didn't have the same kind of room or whatever. Didn't have the drink package. It's still really easy to compare.
And I think like when you look at these two lines, right, Princess and Celebrity, they are kind of like that premium line, right? It's not a Royal Caribbean, it's not a Carnival. You're going to pay more, but you're expecting a little bit more in return, right? You're expecting better food, better service. And so we want to dive into all of that. And I would say this is going to be pretty close. I mean, both ships are great. I think you loved both ships, but we want to go through and just compare, right? So the first kind of category that we want to talk about today is the ship layout and the crowds, right? So how did the ship sort of feel? What were some of those venues that really stood out to you on, let's start with Celebrity first, on the Excel, like, let's talk about what you really felt like stood out in terms of this class of ship. And what did you think overall in terms of the ship layout and crowds on the Excel?
I mean, the layout's pretty smooth, right? It's everything's right there off the atrium, forward, aft, and the specialty restaurants are all on the one side. You can't really walk around that side, so it's not, you're not really cut off and can't really go this way from that way. So it flows pretty easily down there. Up top, super easy layout. In through Toledo, out through Toledo to the sun deck out there to to the rooftop garden. It flows really well. On Princess, not quite as well. But yeah, the XL was laid out really well.
I would say for me, what I really liked on the Excel was sort of the aft, like you said, the rooftop garden, the sunset bar. Love those spaces. The pool decks too, right? So the pool deck was really laid out nicely. It also had like a lot of ocean views. You don't see that a ton on ships where you have like 2 to 3 story tall windows that you can see pretty much any spot on the pool deck. You have a beautiful view of the ocean, and I really liked that as well. And then talk about the bottom of the ship. You've got the good kind of main atrium area right there with the martini bar. You have all of your stuff sort of in that area. The only thing that's a little weird is especially restaurants can really hear a lot of the noise from that main atrium. So that's sort of the downside I would say there. But overall, I would say the ship layout felt great, felt pretty normal. The bazaar was interesting, right? We talked about the bazaar. It's sort of like that multi-purpose venue where you have food, you have your drinks, and you have the show aspect. And it kind of really tried to make this venue more of an all-day space. Which, reading on Facebook, I don't know, Jeremy, if you've been seeing this too. People are really going there all day, and I'm excited to hear what you get off the Beyond. Like, is that a space that you feel like was really utilized during the day, or did celebrities sort of do the right thing by creating an atmosphere for you to kind of come around and see all those different festivals and stuff like that? So anything else you want to add in terms of ship layout or crowds on celebrity that you can think of?
No, I was gonna mention the bazaar as well, but the atrium is beautiful, and you can kind of see everything up and down, and the way everything feeds off of it, and ending with the martini bar at the bottom down there. It's laid out quite beautiful.
The magic carpet's cool. Like I feel like that's like a standout feature. Wouldn't really call that part of like ship layout, but it was really cool. I mean, a little gimmicky, I would say, but it is cool to have a drink out there. I really liked the club personally. If I'm talking venues, we'll get to nightclub and stuff, but anyways, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Princess. So, what do you think of the Sun Princess in terms of the layout and the crowds?
I mean, so there's more people on there. It's a bigger ship. So that's it can get a little crowded at times. We went Thanksgiving week, so you're gonna have more kids, more families. So it was pretty crowded. Ship layout, it's not bad. Again, it's like a lot of ships. You have the atrium in the middle, and then things feed off of it. But it's got a little more. You stop here, you can't go around there. A little more of that, which kind of takes away a little bit from, like you said, from the flow. It's got more decks up top, but again, it's you go around this here, you go through the pool to get to that. And it's not quite, and you go around this side and you can't get in. You got to go back around the other side and get in. You don't see a lot of that on the Excel. You see kind of a lot more of that on the Sun Princess. So as far as layout goes and crowds go, it's a little rougher than the Celebrity XL was.
I think a lot of things about this ship, like when you look at the reviews, people that have been historically big Princess fans, like actually didn't really like the Sun Princess when you read a lot online, right? So I think that's interesting to your point that they put things in different spots. The example is like the buffet, right? They moved the buffet on this Sphere class. I think that's an example of that. And I think people were a little bit, like you said, turned off by the layout compared to ships like the Royal Princess or some of the older ships out there that might have flowed a little bit better.
Yeah, Royal class is it's a nice class, and they have a lot of ships, and they were that was their biggest thing for a while, right? This was the first ship in a new class, and I don't know if they really did. I mean, the sphere is innovative and moving the the buffet down. And to me, that wasn't really a big deal. Having it on the pool deck versus at the pool deck doesn't really make a big difference to me. But yeah, they took some chances. They did some things, and I don't think it landed with everybody. I think a lot of people who love Princess really love that world class ship, and then you change a bunch of things. They kind of we saw it when NCL went away from the breakaway and they went to the Prima. It got a lot of flack for going to Prima class because people love the breakaway class, and then people didn't like that. I think you're kind of seeing a little bit of that, right? Where people move away from the Royal class and then the Sun and the Sphere class, and they just like, oh, it's not really for me. I guess I don't have to worry about it. There's
Yeah.
only two of them coming up, so I guess it's not, it's not like it's going to dominate the class or anything. But
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to be going through the comments tonight throughout the episode. We have Thomas Vogel who messaged and said his experience with Celebrity is it typically seems trendy with 30 and 40-year-olds, while Princess seems more geared at 50s. So this could be a good thing to talk about at some point, and it might be a different experience on the inaugural since there are more media on board.
I will definitely say that I was shocked at how much celebrity Michael is like trying to tailor things for like our demographic, right? They're thinking about the people that are in their 30s and 40s that are sailing with no kids, right? They're promoting, like you said, like the influencers and stuff. They're really trying to get people our age to spend money on celebrity, and it shows. Like one of the things that they did that was really cool is that like poolest day ever thing. I don't know if Jeremy you ended up seeing that at all, but around the whole pool deck they sort of themed it poolest day ever. They had a DJ one of the days, and that was kind of like their big party on the pool deck day. And to your point, it was shocking to me how much fun celebrity was because I was thinking, oh, this is going to be boring. Like, no, the guy was spinning some good music by the pool. So I think a lot of the fanboys on Royal and stuff like to hate on celebrity and say it's boring. And I didn't get that vibe at all. It was just different. It wasn't like, hey, let's go do the standard events that are every night. It was just like the events that they did do were more just about being together, drinking, having a good time. It wasn't as much like in your face, like the childish type entertainment. So that was kind of the biggest difference for me. But Jeremy, maybe you can speak on sort of like the princess component of that. Like, do you really feel like princess sort of trends more like conservative, traditional, whatever word you want to use there?
Well, I think that whole the 30s and 40s and the 50s things you get on Princess, because Princess for a long time did really skew really old. Them in Holland were really skewing like 50 plus, right? But as you're going more, you're seeing a little bit, a little bit younger crowds getting on Princess. As more people are sailing, as popular as cruise is getting, you're starting to see younger crowds on Princess. People are trying out everything else that's out there. They were trying to get away from Royal and Carnival a little bit, seeing what else is out there. And I think you're seeing a little bit younger crowd. I saw a lot of kids, a lot of younger people, families on the Sun Princess, and I think that maybe the new ship is also trying to bring some more people in there. But celebrity has always been kind of trendy in that 30s, 40s. For a little while they were a little older as well, and they started as adults only, and then they changed into having kids aboard. So it's always going to be a little more adult feel and really pushing towards the 30s and 40s. They don't really cater. They have stuff for the kids, but as we saw, it's definitely for adults and made for adults.
Dude, I don't know where you put puzzles into that, what age group, but man, we
And we
tore up those puzzles.
we played it, so I mean, clearly it's all ages. We played it like
Dude,
crazy.
dude, I would be lying to you if I didn't come off that cruise and was like Googling how do I buy one of these puzzle tables? Because real talk, we went on another trip non-cruise like a couple weeks later, right? We went up to the mountains and we did a puzzle and were like, this sucks. Like who actually likes puzzles? Because you have to clean up all these pieces. We're like, this is not fun. But the puzzles on the digital screen, that was actually fun. I enjoyed that. I don't like real puzzles, so don't catch me doing real puzzles, but the ones on the screen were fun. So all right, let's transition over to food real quick. So food. I mean, this is one of my favorite things about a cruise, right? Michael and I have talked about on this podcast so many times all the good food that we've had on cruises, whether it's Indian food or the buffet, main dining rooms, all that stuff. But let's talk about food. What did you think about the food overall on the Celebrity Excel?
Well, again, we didn't do anything specialty, right? So we didn't get we don't we kind of just did the buffet and the we did the spice and all that stuff. I'm telling you, blown away, like blown away. My sister, my brother-in-law were with me, blown away. Now it could just be they're going all out for the inaugural, so I can't really say it's always going to be like that. But who knows? It could be. They could really push it. But spice was really great every time we went there. The buffet, as you know, was unbelievable. And if they can keep that up even a little bit, that's a giant win. The dining rooms I thought were good. Dining rooms didn't really blow me away. They're I would say about the same as most dining rooms, maybe a little bit above. But as far as buffet and casual dining around there, yeah, hard to beat.
Yeah, we ate in the main dining room every night, and we thought the main dining room was really good. We had some really good experiences there. We thought it was better than any main dining room we've ever had before. So we were actually happy that we did eat in the main dining room on Celebrity. To your point, spice was ridiculous. Like you had me on that mole bowl thing. I didn't even know what mole was until this cruise, and I got like 3 days of mole in a row. But the stuff that they had at Spice, it was like think about it, guys. Like it was like Chipotle, and they made a bowl for you with the rice and the mole, and they added toppings. That thing was insane. In the mornings, they did acai bowls there. So, like, if you want breakfast and stuff. And then we did do specialty dining one night. We ate at Mosaic, and it was phenomenal. Like, the service, the drinks. I mean, it was just absolutely insane. I loved it. I mean, I had nothing bad to say about the food on Celebrity. So pretty good. Let's talk about Princess. What did you think about the food on Princess after the week after you got off the Excel? What did you think?
So it's kind of skewed, right? Because we had the premiere package. So we made sure we got some specialty dining. It was kind of booked, hard to get. And we'll get to a little bit of that later on, how kind of frustrating that was. And then of course we had the Sanctuary Club. So it's not really apples to apples, but I did eat in the buffet. I did eat some of the casual dining, Um, they have the International Cafe right in the middle there. It's always big on all the Princess ships. They always have little snacks and stuff there. It's always a go to. It's open late night. It's great. The buffet, I had no problem with. It's a buffet, but was it XL class buffet? I mean, Celebrity XL. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that, and it wasn't close. Um, so overall, like casual food buffet. We didn't do main dining room, but main dining room is main dining room. You're not really getting that. When I started cruising like 12 years ago, it was a different feel. The main dining room was like super elevated. Now it's kind of just a little nicer than the buffet. Sometimes you can find the same exact food on the buffet most times. So it wasn't really. I mean, I can't imagine it was anything special. I did do specialty dining. Obviously, the steakhouse was really great. The Italian food was actually really really good. We enjoyed it a lot. We did the casual dining. Alfredo's was fantastic. Alfredo's is a great pizza at sea. So, and then the stuff, obviously, the sanctuary dining room was always the star of the show, just for dining every night.
If you had to give a point to the one or the other, who would you give that point to?
I give it to Celebrity.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
because of the free food. I mean, it's hard when you don't have the specialty to be able to stack it up. So you're
yeah,
saying
exactly.
because of the
Like
stuff that you could compare. Yeah.
the majority of the ships not paying for specialty dining. They don't have a package that gives it all that. The majority of the ships go in the buffet in the dining room and whatever casual free foods around there. I mean, just a little, even the little desserts at El Baccio were better. So I think it's definitely at least on this cruise, definitely on the Celebrity XL.
All right, boys. Well, we're back with some more comments here. We have your son Jackson that said cruising bear. You want to give a shout out to your son?
My boy Jackson always supporting his dad.
Jennifer said she loved the sun. And then Jackson also said his first cruise was the Celebrity Constellation when he was 13. He hasn't been on one since, but would love to try one as an adult. Now, I will
We'll
say,
get you there, buddy.
I am skipping around to some of these questions because we'll be coming back to them in some other categories. But we do have a comment from M Bureau 11114898 that says in 2 weeks he's going to be doing the Med on the Sun Princess in April. Is there any specialty dining that is a must when it comes to checking out or repeating? He has Princess Premiere. Where should he go, Jeremy?
Sabatini's is great, man. Sabatini's is a really good Italian place. And obviously the Crown Grill, can't really go wrong with the steakhouse. But everybody knows that. I would say check out Sabatini's. We did not do Butcher Block by Dario, but if you like meat, definitely do Butcher Block by Dario.
Awesome. Well, let's dive back in. So, food, you said you're going to give that one to the Celebrity Excel just because of, like you said, the food that you were able to compare. You thought that maybe they did a little bit better. Now, if you would have done the specialty dining package, you'd be able to talk a little bit more about what that would look like holistically. Let's jump over to bars, lounges, nightlife, entertainment shows. Jeremy, this is your favorite because I know you love theater shows. You mentioned that to me every night on the Excel how much you love singing, dancing on stage. But no, let's talk about holistically, right? Because I know you don't like it. There's a lot of really good bars on both of these ships, right? You talk about Spellbound, you talk about the Speakeasy, you talk about the Magic Carpet and the Sunset Bar and all those places, right? Let's focus on Celebrity Excel first, right? What were some of your favorite things to do besides the casino? Because we know you like to lose money in the casino. Besides that, what do you think about the nightlife, the lounges, the bars, the entertainment on the Excel?
And again, when we talked about it, like just blown away, right? It was the music was great. All the live music acts were great. But if you want to break it down, like the Martini Bar, like I said, just the location, at the kind of at the bottom there of the atrium, everything's kind of above you. It's got a really cool feel. That beautiful big chandelier above you, the live music, all the music they had right there with they were very talented. You go to the like I said, you go to the club. They always had great music there, great live acts. They had the game shows that were there. That was great. Um, I didn't really get to listen to music on that much on the Sunset Bar. That was more you over there, so you can speak to that
Yeah.
one.
I thought the music was great all around the ship, right? So they had a guy just playing acoustic sets in by the pool deck at the Sunset Bar. That was amazing. To your point, I loved how they kind of took something a little bit from maybe Virgin Voyages, where like they turned the club into like a theater, and so I thought that was pretty cool, right? And then it goes back to the club after. So like the one that stuck out to me was like the country line dancing night, or the one where that lady was literally swinging from the ceiling, and then that all ultimately turned into like an 80s club after. I don't think we stayed for the whole thing, or I think we stayed right till it turned into a club. But
Yeah,
no, that was awesome. Like you said, the entertainment was great, the bazaar was great. I have honestly, I'd put this up there with uh some of the top ships that I've been on in terms of entertainment and nightlife. The drinks were really good all over the ship. The martini bar was really well themed. The world class bar was insane. Love that spot. The drinks on the pool deck were great. Like I had no bad drinks, and I love that every bar had its own menu. Even the Sunset Bar had some really cool, and they keep them from ship to ship, right? So if being on the Beyond, you'll have very similar drinks, but they had separate menus, which I thought was really cool too. So
and
overall, I give it a really high score.
let's not forget the Speakeasy. That was your favorite bar on the whole ship.
Dude, I could talk about the Speakeasy for a long time. Michael, you said we might have a question about the Speakeasy.
Yeah, we do. Keith, so the question about the speakeasy is how did the photo booth actually work? Did you have to select that you wanted to go to the speakeasy, or is it just random?
So when you get down there, it sort of gives it away, and that's what we were saying. Like celebrities to figure out how to manage this, right? Because you'll see someone standing and they're giving out fobs pretty much most of the time because the demand is so hot and the room is so small. There's only like what, Jeremy, like 30 seats in there, and you
Feels
can
like
only
it, yeah.
stay for an hour. Yeah, you can only stay for an hour. So they get you in and out in an hour, which I actually really like. But once you check in with the person, you get a little pager. You walk away, have a drink, whatever. They paid you back, and then you go to do a photo. Basically, you enter the photo booth. You hit, I'm going to take a photo. I think you tap your card, and then it basically saves that on your phone for your photos. If you want to, I think they actually give you a copy too. But then it takes the 3 photos, and then it circles back in time, and then you enter. You enter into a hallway, which is really cool, right? Sort of separates you from the real world. All of this is like mental, right? Because they definitely, it's the smells that you smell when you get into that hallway. It's the fact that you're sort of leaving this ship behind and then now entering the 1970 or not 1970s, 1920s. And it's really cool. Like, I mean, the speakeasy was amazing. Every night, Jeremy and I, we did it 3 or 4 times together. It was a different experience every single time. Sometimes it was party vibes, sometimes it was chill vibes. I mean, it was, and they had a different show every night. And I think that was the part that I was like, why are more cruise ships not doing this? And they are like, there's other ones have speakeasies, but from what I've heard, it's different. Like you can go every night. On this one, I think the other ones you might only be able to go once per cruise. Like this was a big part of the entertainment for us, I'd say, honestly.
Yeah, maybe we went. There was a night we went. I think 2 nights we went twice, something like that. It was just having a good time. I mean, it's unique. It was, and the fact that they limit you, and we said it right. Someone could come in 30 minutes after us and have a completely different experience than our time, because something just would just end, and they would come in not knowing that it just happened, and they won't have the same experience. That's something you're not going to really find anywhere else.
I loved when they did a raid at like 11:30 where like the cops would come in and like they would hide all the booze and like turn off all the music. I thought that was just a cool thing, right? So it's a little kind of show. Like every night there was a comedy show, or not a comedy show, like a magic show, or there was like dancers or live music happening. So it was a spectacular spot, and I would definitely say it's my favorite bar I've ever been on any cruise ship without a doubt. So yeah, definitely gives a point to the speakeasy.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about Princess now. What did you think about the nightlife, the lounges, the bars on the Sun Princess in comparison?
So we went and saw. So we did. We went and saw a in the theater. We actually went and saw a magician. He was really good. He was really entertaining. So that was fun. Something different in the theater other than the show was good. O'Malley's was lively, man. They had a an Irish duo in there who was playing every single night. They had 3 shows, and they sang like I'd say 90 95% Irish, Irish traditional songs, and it was great. It was kind of crazy and fun how they built it. Like the very beginning, the first day they're singing songs you don't know the words, but they kind of play the same songs every night, and they kind of try and get you to repeat them or join on. So 4 days in, if you go there every night, you're starting to know the songs, and the shows down there got better and better and better as you went because it's just kind of it kind of built for you. It kind of layered it for yourself. And we had a great time. We went there quite often actually. It was they put on a great show. We had a lot of fun. Now some of the other ones like Kerner's Bar is always big on all their ships. Well, Kerner's is part of the Piazza, right? It's like right like top 8 on the Piazza, so it's down there. So it kind of there's music in the Piazza all the time. They had a great '80s show in there one night, but it's kind of all bleeds together a little bit. Which some of the reasons I don't really like the some of the Royal ships is on the promenade the music kind of bleeds into each other. What's going on outside or outside bleeds into the music, and you kind of get that there. And like the Wheelhouse Bar is packed away as it's in front of the Crown Grill. It's way in the back of the ship. You don't really see it a lot. Spellbound's great. They kind of changed the experience. It's not quite as unique and as I'd say not as maybe not as fun as the first time we went, but they changed it. It's a great bar. They got a lot of great drinks on there. But I mean, it's nice that they had a good time. O'Malley's is a great bar. I just don't think it was on the level as the XL.
All right. Well, Jeremy, this is turning out to be sort of a blowout here, but let's keep going. Let's keep going, right? So let's talk about service. Um, Service onboard celebrity, I thought was fantastic. Now, again, this is a little bit skewed, I would say, again, because we're comparing the maiden voyage. So I don't want anyone to get discouraged. I mean, I really do think Royal Caribbean Group that owns celebrity has a tendency to sort of stack the cards in a way to put all their best people, all their best chefs. Like I think when we talk about all this, I just want to take it with a pinch of a grain of salt because at the end of the day, they really do put all their foot forward into these maiden voyages and stuff. So in terms of service, I had great service on board. Drinks were, coming quickly. The food was, the service in the main dining room was incredible. Everything was great, right? I had a great room steward. They do your rooms twice a day. Like I just didn't have any problems at all on this cruise with customer service. People in the casino were nice. I didn't make any money in the casino, but overall, I thought the service was good. Jeremy, what did you think about the service on the Celebrity Excel?
It's kind of what you expect on celebrity, kind of top level. Again, it's the maiden warriors. They're not going to let anybody go in there and have a bad time. So while they're most cruise ships, almost everything's on point. This was kind of extra on point. This they really put their best foot forward, like you said, and let everybody know this is going to be a great experience from the Jump Street.
Now, Jeremy, you had Sanctuary Club on Princess, on the Sun Princess. What did you think about the service in terms of this room category? And did you feel like it was worth the extra money that you paid for this?
So this is kind of and this was a big sticking point for us. So we went last year, literally like 1 year. I think it was within days of being 1 year difference. And we went to that. The reason why we booked this again because we had such an amazing experience in the sanctuary the first time. We're like, well, let's do this again. We had a casino deal. We got it discounted, and we're like, well, yeah, we'll definitely still we still paid a pretty penny for it, but still. And then we got some other people to go with us, and the service was outside. I mean, the dining room, look, the sanctuary dining room, stellar. Every single time we went, lunch, dinner, every time breakfast, always great, always amazing, amazing food. The sanctuary deck was a giant letdown. There were times we waited for an hour for a drink. There were times we waited like 30 minutes just for somebody to come by and ask us for a drink. The first time we went, you couldn't go more than 5 minutes without somebody coming by and asking you for a drink. It was rough, man. And then they would go and they would bring back the wrong drink. They tell you they couldn't make that drink, or they brought it back and it tasted horrible. It was an absolute giant letdown compared to the year before. Like I felt almost embarrassed to ask some people to go with us and experience that, and that really put a real damper on the cruise. Um, and then just around the ship, it was crowded, but by the end, I think we got a feel for it, right? I think, like you said, Sun Princess was new last year. They had all the people on there. Star Princess is coming out. I think they might have transferred some people to Star Princess. There were a lot of new people, and I also felt like it was understaffed. But there were a lot of new employees there. Didn't really know what they were doing. Right, you could see people getting told a lot to do this, go do that, go do this. So I think we were in that kind of flux period of getting a bunch of new people. They had just transferred. I mean, it was like the second cruise since coming over from the Med. So I don't know if they changed people over at that time. I know a lot of the acts. Actually, we caught the last act of the magician. We caught the last act of those two guys who were in the and the O'Malley's and another guy. A lot of it switched out then. So I think they switched a lot of personnel out, and it really showed some people were not really up to the task of what you expect, especially in the Sanctuary Club. It was a disappointment. And even we had a problem, and we went down to the guest services. We had to go down there 3 times to get it fixed. And one guy told us something that was completely wrong and not even right. And then when we come to complain about it, they're kind of like, "Oh well," I was like, "Man, that's just not what I expected from Princess. Not what we got the year before." And it left a bad taste in our mouth. And there's some complaining around the ship about it as well, about the crowds, about the just and the workers themselves aren't bad. They were trying hard, but I just think they're understaffed, and I think they were just kind of a newer staff. Like a bunch of new people at one time is never really a good thing.
I feel like that's sort of I don't know, one of the common complaints about cruising is that it is inconsistent, right? Across all the lines, no matter how much money you're spending, typically you do find some inconsistencies. Now, I'm not sailed for the Ritz Carlton yet, so I can't speak for like that class of spending. But I will say that like a lot of times I hear this where people have a great experience on one of the ships, and then they go back the next year and they have a completely different experience, good or bad. It stinks a little bit that it's not consistent, and I think that's why it's hard to trust reviews. Like, I'm not downplaying what you're saying, Jeremy, because I do think if someone were to go on next week, like, they could have a great experience. And it's just because, like, to your point, like, the crew could have all been changing over. It just could have been some weird fluke, right? And so it's a
Well, I'll tell
downside to
you.
cruising. Yeah.
Speaking of that, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you. But the week before we were on, they did a couple preview sailings on the XL, and I saw someone post in a group that the food was terrible on the XL.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I was like, wow, if this is terrible food, I'm not sure what you're used to, because we thought it was fantastic everywhere we went. And so it's really subjective. It's all cruising is always subjective. I tell people all the time, don't take my word for it. The way I cruise, the way you cruise, what I look for, what you look for, not going to be the same thing. So
Yeah.
you get some people on there who just have a bad day one, it can skew their whole cruise. So yeah, my experience, but not been everybody else's experience. So it can really be different from cruise to cruise.
All right, so if we're taking these two sailings, it sounds like you had better service overall, probably on the Excel. Let's jump into let's jump into the staterooms, right? So I know that you had completely different staterooms. What did you end up booking on the Celebrity Excel?
We did mini suite.
Okay, no, on the Excel.
Oh, on the Excel. Sorry, we had a infinite veranda. Sorry.
Okay. What did you think about the infinite veranda? Because this is my first time doing the infinite veranda, and we were nervous. We're like, is it going to be like, oh, I've got a porthole window, I'm paying all this money for a balcony. We personally loved it, but we also know that it's a hot take, right? Like, there's people that are like, it seems like it's a window, and I'm like, dude, it was awesome. Like, it's a huge window. Not only that, it slides down. Not only that, it goes blackout. Like, I really liked it, but did you feel like you also would do it again, or did you have a different experience?
Yeah, like you said, it's one of those things. We saw a lot of reviews, people just bashing it, how terrible it was, and if you put the window down, the AC cuts off, and it's hot in the room. And we had a little trouble with ours. Ours, stuck a little bit, wouldn't come down, but it was easy fix. I thought it was nice because the best part is when you have a room with a balcony on it, like you can't use that outside space is only accessible when you go out there. Those French doors open up, and it gives you another 4 feet to your room, and you can sit over there in the chairs and still be in the room. You can put the blinds up and down. Yeah. I'm a fan. I liked it. I would do it again, 100%. Now you kind of lose a little bit of the view like you do on a balcony. When you have a balcony, your views are a little different. So it kind of focuses it down, puts little blinders on a little bit, but not so much where I'd be like, "Oh, this is terrible." Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and I feel like I paid a little bit less for mine. We had a group rate, so we got some discount through our agency. So shout out our agency if you guys want deals on Celebrity Royal. That's usually where we have the best deals. Make sure you reach out to us. We'll put the link in the description, and Jeremy will make sure that you get a shout out too. But dude, I had a really good price, and it was 10% obstruction, and I was like, dude, this is insane that I paid like $1,500 less and only had 10% obstruction in that room. So I love my room. What did you end up having? You said you had the mini
And a
suite,
mini suite.
correct?
Yeah, mini suite on
Yeah.
the Sun.
Okay.
It,
And what you
it's
thought overall the room was laid out well?
fantastic. They do a really good job. Their mini suites are really nice. The bathroom was big. Um, they the old ones they kind of had this little closet thing in front of you when you walk by the bathroom. It was nice, a little different area, but they put a big wardrobe in the middle. It doesn't take away from the room. They have two TVs, one by the couch and one by the bed. Balconies are balconies. It was nice, but I've seen some of the regular rooms. They're nice. They're nice balcony rooms. Just they're really nice.
In terms of like comparing, it's really hard for you probably to compare what you had on the Celebrity Excel to the mini suite. I'm guessing you're gonna like the mini suite more.
As the room, yeah. If you look at innovation and stuff like that, and how things were, I'll say that the celebrity room was a little better before. Like I said, this they had the Wi-Fi router in every room, right? They don't have that on every other ship. But if you look, you open up there, every room has its own Wi-Fi hotspot or whatever they want to call it. So you get way better connectivity in your room. The decor is very nice. The beds were pretty comfortable. Um, the beds are. I would say the bed on Sun Prince was a little better, but um, if you kind of just take it for what it is and take the little things that like the connectivity and like the decor and I would say the XL kind of slightly edges it out for what you get for your room and the really cool things you can do with your room. But yeah, I would say the Celebrity probably just a little bit better.
All right, well, Michael, I think we have some questions in the chat. Hey, shout out to our
Yes,
chat
yes.
for going strong. We have a couple more minutes left, so make sure you get your questions in there before we wrap up. Michael, what do we got?
Yes, I'm back with some comments and questions. Sherry said when they were on the Apex that the pools and hot tubs closed by 7:30 p.m., which they found a little disappointing. I'll say when we were cruising on Utopia just last week, I was surprised in January how many people were out there at nighttime swimming because those pools were not heated. Now the ones in the hot tubs made a little more sense there. And then Jennifer said the Excel class was a game changer for us. We always loved Celebrity, but now we want to cruise more on the Edge class. And that this on the Sun, the Hibachi was the best. And then Keith said, "You're really making him want to sail Excel now." And it sounds like may have been on the Sun Princess training cruise, but he also said a cruise is what you make of it no matter what cruise line you were on. And then your daughter Jeremy said, "Hi, Papa Bear. Love Baby Bear."
Yeah, she got my granddaughter there, so they're watching along.
Aw. Yep, that's the chat right now, Frank.
All right. Keep the questions flowing in the chat, the comments. That's interesting. I didn't notice on our ship, Jeremy, the pools closing early, but yeah, it's just something to look out
We're
for, I
gone by
guess.
we're at the dinner most of the times, right? You kind of close up and you just kind of go to dinner, but you could always go
Yeah,
to
but
the adults only. The solarium was always open that late.
yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? Like in terms of cruising style, I think it makes sense. Try to hit the pools in the evening, to try to get the pool to yourself. But that's not like my style. Usually, once I'm in my dinner outfits and stuff, I'm not getting back in a bathing suit. But that's just me. So everyone has a different style too, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think it's most people. I think you nailed that right
yeah.
on the head there.
And yeah, appreciate all the comments and keep those coming and questions. We love that. Now let's talk about our last category here. So value, right? I think one of the things about Celebrity is that you do spend more money at the end of the day for your room, especially when you compare it to a Royal cruise. But would say that with there's exceptions because if you're looking at usually if I were to go on our site and I would look at the cheapest cruise in the next couple of months, one of the cheapest options besides Margaritaville and MSC is going to be the Celebrity Reflection or one of those older ships, right? So I would say it's a caveat that you could get a pretty good value on an older Celebrity ship. And I would say that like Princess, one of the things that when we're talking about this comparison, they don't really do 3 to 4 night cruises, right? Like that's not really their style. So if you're looking for a weekend cruise, you can get that on Celebrity. You really don't see that as much on Princess. But overall value, I feel like you pay more for Celebrity than you would for a Royal, Carnival, Norwegian, but you get more, right? At the end of the day, you get or better quality food. You do end up getting some things around the pool deck, like you don't have to worry about checking out towels. You don't have to worry about bringing sunscreen to the pool. They literally have dispensers there for you. Just things like that. Like it's small things that they did. Even just like the night before our excursions, they had towels for us in the room. Like I was like, that's such a nice thing to have. Like why can't other cruise lines put the towels in the room for you? So just things like that made a big difference to me. What did you think about the value that you got? I mean, you guys were on a, was it a casino or did you actually, you did pay for this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I paid full for this one. Yeah, and I'll say also, I mean, celebrity great value for what you get. It's a it's an elevated kind of cruise, and the price that you get for that, you can find a lot of great ones, especially on the older ships. But you can find some really great deals on the older princess ships too. Like you said, they don't do a lot of as many short ones, but they do some really great really great itineraries as well. But for value for what you get, when we're going to talk about the drink package on Celebrity, where that's they give you a drink package, you pay it all as part of your. And next thing you know, you're still paying for every drink you get because there's no drinks hardly that are involved in that. And you compare that to Princess Plus and Princess Premier, like they say, Premier's, for what you get for the value is you're not going to beat that. You can get and for Premier, even on the Princess, I think it's like $105 a day or $100 a day or something like that per person, and you get
Yeah.
unlimited specialty dining, unlimited drinks, free pictures, unlimited, you know, um, unlimited casual dining. You get so much with it. $300 tour excursion per person that you can book pre-cruise, and while using your onboard credit or while using that credit for it. It's the value you get on Premier and Plus is not you're not going to beat that ever.
Yeah.
No package on any cruise line that touches either one of those.
I gotta correct you because you said on Celebrity with the, so we booked the free drinks and the classic drinks and the basic Wi-Fi. I always mix those with our group rates. It always comes with the classic drinks and the basic Wi-Fi. That includes drinks up to $12 and like your basic texting, right? So with that drinks up to $12, you can pretty much get like vodka sodas, like whiskey coke or whatever, but it's going to be the bottom of the barrel stuff. Now when you go to a bar and you order an old fashioned, you say I want Woodford or I want Maker's Mark, you're going to pay, I think it's like what, 17, $18. So that's not going to be included in your classic drinks. So that's just something to think about when you do book that. We ended up upgrading ours on the first day. I think it was about $15, $20 a day extra, and that was totally worth it because I was drinking, like you saw me in that speakeasy, dude. I was having like 3 drinks just in there. So that was money well spent, and I thought it was worth it. So to your point, Jeremy, I think that package that you get on Princess, it's pretty tough to beat when it comes to value. So I don't think this is really a question, right? I don't think it's really a question on whether who wins this category.
Yeah, not for me. For me, it's definitely Princess.
All right, well, I'm back because we got some comments talking about the package. These actually kind of were some of the first comments that came in. Sherry early on said, love both Celebrity and Princess, but you can't beat the Premier package on Princess for a great all inclusive vacation. Virtually everything is included. And then Keith from Wakeview Travel also said, absolutely, Princess Premier is the best deal in cruising, in his opinion. And then we had CJG Squared say this was kind of when you were talking about comparing like the Reflection and like some older celebrity ship prices. He said he's been tracking weekend cruises and saw the same thing, that 3 night cruises on older celebrity ships have constantly been cheaper than Royal, since Royal has the Oasis class doing the weekend cruises.
I kind of lost him at the end there. I think maybe an internet issue, but no, I mean those are all great. I mean, basically validating exactly what we just said, right, Jeremy? That it does give you a great value, right? You can still get good value on Celebrity. It's just you got to look a little bit harder, but nothing really comes close to the value that you get when it comes to the Princess Plus and Princess Premier packages. So, yeah, pretty awesome. Honestly, I think overall, who would you say? If you looked at both of these cruises side by side, Jeremy, who would you say wins overall?
Um, Based on that one and that one back to back, taking out kind of some factors, taking out the being in the sanctuary, taking out being the inaugural cruise, I still think last time we talked about this, I went on the side of Princess, right? I think this time, even though I do love Plus and Premier and it pushes Princess, no matter what they're doing wrong, high, I think I'm just going to fall on the side of celebrity this time.
And I feel like after your next cruise, when we have you back on here, right, talking about the Beyond, that's truly going to be the test. Because I think, to your point, we were on the maiden voyage, right? Like, there couldn't have been anything bad about the maiden voyage. It was perfect. And so now we need to see, does it hold true, right? Does it age well? And I think that's something that we want to see when it comes to your review coming up, what, in less than a month, about a month, we'll
Yes,
know,
sir.
February 8th. So little Valentine's Day getaway. But no, it'll be great to just hear what you think going on it again. I know my parents were on the Beyond about a month or so ago, and they said it was incredible. One of my dad's favorite ships he's ever been on. Absolutely loved it. So phenomenal ship. And now I just want to wrap it up. I mean, thank you again, Jeremy. I appreciate you coming on, taking the time. Obviously, Michael, appreciate you coordinating all the live and the technical components of this. And we want to do more of these, so we'll put it out there. We'll let you guys know when we end up doing this again. Probably, Jeremy, it might be for your Beyond review. We could do something like this and get back on the live stream. But overall, had a great time. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We can do this again. You'll get the notifications. And hopefully everyone has a good week. It's fun talking cruises and looking forward to the next time.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Love it.